Hi, this is Ian Wright. Welcome to Saturday Live Meditation, which we've been doing for a long time now, maybe a year and a half. I missed last weekend because I was busy lecturing. We're back. And for those who are interested in listening, each time I kind of do a theme, which I kind of just write down just before. Finding a moment, I think I just wrote that just now. So let's find a moment. So if we're finding a moment, we're trying, that implies engaging with the process of time, because time acts in our lives to completely control us. It does me. I mean, I run these tight lists of patients, where you're next person and then you've got to move on to the next thing, and its time is very much confining almost. But also sometimes when you don't quite have enough time and you've got to finish a lecture or something, you kind of bend time and you change and play with time a little bit. But just allowing ourselves to really be quietly in the moment that you're in opens up time. It's like time falls away and it opens you up to space, time and space. So let's try and open up time into space. So close your eyes and just feel your feet. How do your toes feel? Is there anything that's warm in your toes, even if your toes are cold? Can you feel something? You can meet the warmth that's in the kind of, it's in the arterial blood supply. It's these little capillary beds that oxygenate your feet. And if you focus and look at them, it's amazing, isn't it, how our blood supply is so responsive to our attention. They warm up. And so if you're cold, just focus on that, the blood supply in your feet, and it wakes up and they start tingling even and getting warm. So you can do that. Anyway, I'm distracting myself here. So allow yourself to really be here in this very moment. This very moment means what? How do we attune ourselves to this very moment? The easiest way is to allow your attention to come to your senses. So we're out of thinking, conceptual, doingness, all those different elements, into beingness. And beingness we can attune via our senses. We can do it through our hearing, to hear the birds, or whatever sound is in the background, or looking with our eyes closed at the colour in the back of our eyelids. It just brings, our senses bring our attention into now. But a lot of meditative practices, especially Taoist ones, we pull our senses in so they're not out in the world. So we can you can do two things. We can allow our senses to be with the world and then accept that, and that brings us back into ourselves. Or we can bring our senses in, which is a different way. But either way, that brings us into this moment. Because we're not thinking about the future, we're not analysing the past. We're here. And as we drop into this moment, truly, it's like we drop into space. We drop into that space that's behind our eyes. And that, as soon as we drop into that, in this moment, there's this huge sense of expansion. And that feeling that time just disappears. There is no time in this kind of primordial field. So if you want to open up time, you drop into the vertical dimension of it, not the linear, and suddenly opens a hole. That's if you want to expand time, you want to do more in those moments. Yeah, I wish you well. I've got all my kind of 4 different courses, stillness practices. I have self-healing, which are very specific self-healing developmental practices, and the anxiety breaks, which are for everybody. And then I've got the cranial practitioner pediatrics, which is specifically for practitioners, osteopaths and craniosacral people. And I'm just starting part 2 of that. And I've got a cardiovascular one and an orthodontics one planned, and a care for carers, actually, self-care for carers course, which I'm wanting to do as well. So stuff to do in the pipeline, but plenty already there. And I wish you a lovely evening.